How you doing? Today we're going to be looking at this very old Parlor guitar I just acquired. It is built by the Lyon Healy Company out of Chicago, Illinois. That's the same company that built Washburn brand guitars prior to the First World War. Same factory, different model, much less fancy than a Washburn, but it's all solid wood. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and what it's got going for it and what it's got going against it before I play a little bit at the end to see how it sounds. Now, there's not a whole lot of information out there that I can find so far about Lyon Healy guitars, but I'll tell you what I've been able to figure out, or guess at least, based on what I've read. You can't see inside the sound hole, but it's clearly branded that this is a Marquette model. Lyon Healy named their non-Washburn guitars according to the kind of wood they used. Marquette guitars were all sycamore, which is what the wood is on the back and the sides. The top is white spruce. It is, as I said, solid wood, not a laminate. It has a very simple 3-ply binding around the top, no binding on the back that I can see. The neck wood, I can't tell what the neck wood is. Some unspecified hardwood. I believe this guitar was originally intended for gut strings, not for steel strings. And I'll tell you why I think that. Now, when I got the guitar recently, it had this metal tailpiece bolted to it. In fact, you can see the reverse shadow from where decades of sunlight darkened the wood around this, but this is not an original tailpiece. There's a number of holes in the bottom where at least 2 different tailpieces have been attached to this over the life of the guitar. But I don't think any tailpiece was original, and I'll tell you why. From what I've found online, it seems that pin bridges, which is what this is, it was pretty common to have pin bridges on late 19th century gut string guitars. And when Lyon Healy started offering steel string conversions, and that's what you use the tailpiece for, in order to deal with the much higher string tension that steel strings pull on the top, you'd bolt a metal tailpiece on there and use that to hold the ends of the strings. A little bit more structural integrity along the rim of the guitar than the bottom. However, from what I've been able to find, it seems that when Lyon Healy sent one out of the factory with a metal tailpiece, they didn't use this kind of bridge anymore. They put on a more typical floating bridge, not a glued down bridge, and a bridge with no pins in it. If that's true, then that means that this bridge and this guitar were always intended for nylon strings. So, does that help me date it? Maybe. Just a guess. I don't hardly know for sure. There's no serial numbers on these guitars, so it's impossible to date it exactly, but this model was started to be offered in about 1890 from what I can find. And by 1910, they basically were only steel strings coming out of the factories. 1915, clearly. So that suggests to me the guitar was probably built between 1890 and 1910. Who knows for sure? Who knows exactly? If there's any experts out there who know better than me, by all means, I'd love to know. But it is ladder braced inside, very lightweight. It's clearly not intended for steel strings. It's got a lot of condition issues, not some condition issues. Long ago, this guitar had major damage. All along the upper bout, there's an enormous crack that ran all the way through. That's been professionally repaired. There's a row of cleats glued inside both sides, so it's solid and structurally sound. The back, there's a big crack up the back, same thing. It's been cleated, and it's stable and solid. The neck is straight as an arrow. The amount of neck relief on it is just right for the way I like to play. The neck angle to the bridge is perfect, spot on. I have to conclude that, for a guitar that old to have a neck that good, it's got to be because of this repair. Whoever fixed that repair took the time to get the neck positioned very, very well when they put it back together, which is a great thing. It's missing an end pin. The hole for the end pin is not the same size as guitars today use. It doesn't look like it's been bored out. I don't see any indication here that there was ever a pickup attached to this. So I just think it's an old guitar with a different hole than they use today, and I'm going to have to make an end pin for that if I decide I want an end pin. The tuners are not matching. I don't know. I think this set of tuners is probably original. It looks older. The knobs look older. These tuners do not match it, but they all work. The nut is kind of chewed up and chipped, but it's getting the job done. I don't see any reason to change it right now. Maybe someday. There's a lot of cosmetic issues. This guitar is beat up. There's lots of dings and scratches and wear up here. You can see the discoloration. The back has lots of buckle rash and wear. The headstock has been worn away on the corners. But, you know, it could probably use a good scrubbing, but I wouldn't want to refinish it and get rid of all of that kind of character from it. So once I took the metal tailpiece off and bought some replacement bridge pins, strung it up with modern nylon strings, not steel strings. It's definitely got that kind of old, small-bodied kind of twang to it. And I'll play a few bars and you can see kind of how it sounds. So for comparison, I'll play the same tune. I think I have this guitar tuned down a half a step, so it'll be a little bit lower, but I'll play the same little riff on my modern Martin guitar, and you can just hear the difference. The old gut string guitars are definitely a sound you don't hear too much from modern guitar makers, and I think it's kind of fun to have one around, and I got it for an awfully reasonable price for what it is, and I think it's going to be fun to have. So that's it, Lyon Healy Marquette model, guesstimating it to be from about the turn of the 20th century.